Thank you, Rita. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Friday's Points West, the end of an exhaustingly hot working week. Thank goodness it's the weekend. Coming up on the programme tonight, weekend events are cancelled and there are safety warnings aplenty as temperatures across the West continue to soar.
People will need to cool off, so we've run a fresh water main down to this corner of the site where people can enjoy a shower, a fresh shower.
And there's concern too about the risk of wildfires. Also on the programme tonight, an inquest finds the death of a 17-year-old girl who was receiving care at an adolescent mental health unit was probably preventable. We've got some old footage of a supersonic Concorde test flight to share with you. It was taken more than 50 years ago and never made public.
The fourth supersonic test flight, and I sat just behind John and Trubby wearing a parachute. And I took a video camera, but when I brought it back, the BBC wouldn't show it. I said, why? Oh, quality's not good enough.
Oh dear. And how you're managing to have eyes on the England-Norway match tomorrow, whatever else is in the diary. Good evening. The West has continued to bake in record-breaking temperatures today with no sign of this third heatwave ending soon. Health warnings remain in place and some weekend events across the region have already been cancelled. Others are going ahead, but with extra precautions to keep visitors safe in the sun. Cheryl Dennis has more.
It's going to be go there, yeah.
If you think you're hot, the medieval knight would have been roasting. A reenactment of the Battle of Tewkesbury, likely to also be a battle against the sun.
Sensible thing to do is not leave your iron pieces cooking in the sun, so that they can cook you when you put them on.
In modern military circles, shooting on Salisbury Plain has been suspended by the MOD. It's far too hot. We're already hearing of events having to be cancelled. School sports days are having to be postponed and the Forestry Commission is worried about the risk of wildfire. And then there are events like this one where adaptations are being made to keep people safe. A makeshift hosepipe contraption inspired by the theme parks of Orlando will give the 4,000 people at Seven Fest somewhere to cool down as they enjoy a performance from Chesney Hawks and the football.
We have a hot weather risk assessment. We make sure we've got areas of shade available to people. We've got medics available to check on people, and we have extra vigilance in the bars to make sure that people who are rehydrating aren't getting too drunk. Lots of obviously free water because of licensed premises, and people can come and get cooled off under the shower.
Swindon Rugby Club are swapping rugby balls for water balloons at their training sessions. The Forum in Bath has no air conditioning, but staff say the show must go on. They're offering audiences free water and stations to refill bottles, as well as keeping doors open to try and keep the Art Deco building as cool as possible. And the 48,000 people attending this year's Bristol Pride will find extra shade, plenty of water and sunscreen on offer to keep them safe. There's also a special over-50s tent they've organised with Age UK.
We said to them, why not come up to the Downs, put up an area where you can have a bit of extra shade, a bit of extra seating, some tea and cake, and just an opportunity really for older people to be able to come to Pride still and make those connections, be amongst friends, but also if they need to have a break, it can be busy. If they need to have a break and have a chill, we've got a space for them there.
For many events, sunshine is what organisers dream of, and they've made sure there's plenty in place to ensure it doesn't become a nightmare. Cheryl Dennis, BBC Points West.
Well, Sarah's here to have a chat about all this, and I've got to say I don't think I've known a summer quite like this in terms of the intensity.
Well, our memories are short though, aren't they? Because
Mine
last year was the warmest summer on record in the UK. Wow. And of course 2022 is when we saw 40 Celsius for the first time. I have to say, I was looking back at that one. I don't think that we had higher temperatures in the West than we've had this week actually in 2022, interestingly.
It just feels very prolonged,
because
doesn't it?
we've had 3, of course, now.
Yeah. I mean, everyone talks about the famous summer of '76, But we've beaten that now, have we, in terms of intensity?
Actually, 2025 beat 1976.
Okay.
It's actually dropped out of the top 5 warmest summers on record in the UK itself already, and it's going to drop again after this summer. But I did bring up some stats here, just having a look. The highest temperature we saw in 1976 was actually at Cheltenham, 35.9 Celsius, and 5 days in a row of 35 Celsius. And how does that compare to what we've had so far? Only halfway through summer, of course. 6 days of 35 Celsius in these heat waves. And we've just seen 35 Celsius observed in 3 calendar months in the year for the first time ever. We've never done that before. And of course, we had those tropical nights too. So we've still got a lot to play for with the whole entire thing.
Well, what can we expect as summer goes on?
Well, you see, the thing is that last summer, they said 2025 summer, the hottest on record, was made 70 times more likely because of climate change. And that's the kind of event you see 1 in 5 years. Well, of course, we're seeing it again this year, and we still have half of the summer still to go.
Yeah, we've got a way to go. Sarah, you'll be back in a bit, won't you? Yep, she'll be back with a full weekend weather forecast later. You can find all the latest health advice and local forecasts and all of that stuff on BBC Online. Now, we share the nation's shock at the news that the death of the former South West MEP Anne Widdecombe is being treated as murder. The politician, who was born and went to school in Bath, had strong links with the West Country. She represented the South West in the European Parliament after leaving the Tories to join the Brexit Party. She was also a regular guest on Politics West. Devon and Cornwall police say a 26-year-old man has now been arrested. The inquest into the death of a 17-year-old girl who died while receiving care at an adolescent mental health unit has found her death was probably preventable. Lucy Curtis died in hospital 5 days after she was found unresponsive at the Riverside unit in Bristol. Our health correspondent Matthew Hill reports.
For Lucy's parents, this memento of their daughter's short life has helped them through hearing difficult evidence about her tragic death.
But this little bear comes with us when we are travelling and has been here every day during court, was with Lucy at Riverside and in the intensive care unit.
They believe she'd still be alive if concerns about her care had been acted on sooner. Lucy began struggling with her mental health in early 2023, and today the jury found the delay getting specialist mental health support possibly contributed to her death.
She was reaching out for help and looking for support. So yeah, she did everything that a 16-year-old at that point should really be doing.
Lucy was eventually admitted as a voluntary patient to Wessex House in Taunton, but the jury identified issues over her discharge to be a turning point in her mental health that possibly contributed to her death.
So we feel that the lack of early intervention really meant that Lucy didn't receive a service from CAMHS until she was actively suicidal.
Those attempts to take her own life became so serious, she was eventually admitted to the Riverside unit, where she was found unconscious and died a few days later in hospital. The jury identified a number of failures in her care there that probably contributed to her death.
They included a failure to recognise escalating self-harm or to provide adequate observation levels, and time lost during the emergency response before paramedics arrived.
Clinical Director of the Trust, Dr Michelle Cox, earlier told the hearing that Riverside could no longer be considered safe.
Dr Cox said following Lucy's tragic death, we did internal reviews and there were other patient safety incidents, and we could not be confident we could continue to provide safe and high quality care. So we made the difficult decision to close the unit down.
In a statement, the trust in charge of her care, AWP, has apologised and acknowledges that Lucy's care before and during her admission to Riverside fell short, and it's working to ensure safe services for other young people. But her parents still have wider questions.
It's now clear that Lucy should have been on continuous observations. Instead, a risky decision was made to keep her on 15-minute observations. It was said that this decision was in Lucy's best interests, but questions remain in our minds about whether it was influenced by staffing levels or because of pressure on the nursing staff from other members of the team.
Matthew Hill, BBC Points West.
More young people are being forced to stay in care because there aren't enough parents willing to foster. Across the southwest, there's been a drop of 14% over the past 5 years, equivalent to a loss of more than 500 families. Esme Ashcroft has more.
Adam entered care aged 4 and has battled with severe PTSD and anger issues. He says his life was saved at 12 by his foster parents, David and Sabrina.
If I didn't have them, I probably would have gone down a dark path of addiction, maybe fighting more. I had severe anger problems where I was in fights every day. It probably would have got along the lines where I would have been put in prison for punching the wrong person.
Adam came to David and Sabrina and their 3 birth sons through the Stonehouse-based service Foster Plus. And the family say Adam's transformation has been amazing to be a part of.
When he came, he was really shy, and we would suggest doing something and he would say, I can't. We don't do I can't. So on principle, if he said I can't, we'd go and do it. And now we'll have a crack at anything.
In Gloucestershire, the overall number of foster families has dropped by 5% over the past 5 years, from 338 to 320. And while it may seem small, it's meant more than 50 fewer children in care have spent time in family settings. The County Council is now encouraging more people to open up their homes.
We're looking for people who've got that capacity to really care and love a child in their own home. And I don't think there's any more you can give. You know, I've worked in this sector for 25 years and a lot of people work really hard, but I don't think people can give any more than inviting a child into their own home.
Adam now has people and a place he can call home for life.
We didn't have him growing up in the early years, but he's one of us. And that will always be the case, even when he's moved on, married, got his own family, whatever. He will be one of us.
Esme Ashcroft, BBC Points West, Stroud.
The family of a woman who died in a house fire in Gloucester on Wednesday have said a bright light in their lives has been dimmed. 42-year-old Amy Stafford died from severe burns. Her family thanked the emergency services, adding they were so proud of their independent lady. The maternity service at Swindon's Great Western Hospital has been rated as requiring improvement. While the hospital's overall rating was good, inspectors found gaps in the maternity unit's auditing and target setting. You're watching Points West. Your weekend starts here. We can all go and stand in the supermarket chiller sections for some heat respite. Still plenty to share with you tonight. We've got some never-before-seen footage of a supersonic Concorde test flight to show you from more than 50 years ago. And your World Cup weekend viewing plans, how you're making sure you catch England, Norway, whatever else you've got going on. Next, the Defence Secretary's been on Salisbury Plain to announce a new training scheme linked to Wiltshire College. Now, they hope it'll create more than 200 new jobs, as our political editor, Paul Baltrop, reports.
In a wood on Salisbury Plain, an array of military hardware and a Defence Secretary. Dan Jarvis was shown the latest high-tech kit. Modern warfare has changed dramatically, so he was announcing a new training system for soldiers linked to Wiltshire College. A contrast when he himself was a soldier based nearby.
I remember when I was here many years ago, the training that we used to conduct was good, but it has to be much better now. It's really important to me that everyone is properly prepared, and that's why we've brought this investment forward in a way that will be good for the British Army and their capabilities, but also good for the local economy, creating good skilled jobs for people here in Wiltshire.
It's only a month since his appointment as Defence Secretary by Keir Starmer. Now he is standing down, and a new PM means a ministerial reshuffle.
It's an enormous privilege to do it, but ultimately it will be for the next Prime Minister to decide who he wants to serve in his cabinet.
Have you talked to him about it?
Yes, I'm in touch with Andy. I trust his instincts on these matters. I have absolutely no doubt whatsoever that he'll make sure that we've got the right resources to keep the country safe. I hope very much to have the opportunity to work with him in that endeavour.
The future is uncertain. The military laid on a show today, keen to prove they're preparing for whatever it brings. Paul Baltrop, BBC Points West, Salisbury Plain.
Remarkable footage of Concorde has been unearthed after more than half a century. The film is from the cockpit of a supersonic Concorde test flight. The never-before-seen footage was captured by the late Bristol MP Tony Benn. But as Richard Lawson explains, it could have been seen much sooner.
You're watching a piece of aviation history, footage that until now has spent decades locked away. It's 1970 and we're inside the cockpit of a Concorde supersonic test flight on prototype 002, taking off from RAF Fairford in Gloucestershire. The man who's shooting the film is the Government Minister for Technology and Bristol MP, the late Tony Benn, who famously resisted efforts to cancel the project at the time. At a museum in Surrey, where one of the old fleet now lives, we showed an enthusiast the footage.
This film's absolutely brilliant. It's a colour film. This is a historic moment. The aircraft hasn't yet reached Mach 2, hasn't reached its full potential. And here's Tony Benn flying one of those early flights and filming it. I mean, I've never seen that. And it's a glorious piece of film because it captures the sense of adventure and flight just in a few seconds.
The film spent decades in the private collection of the Benn family, some of whom followed their father's footsteps into politics.
He tape recorded, he took films, he kept speeches, he kept a lot of stuff. The stuff to keep is what's unique that no one else has got. And this is all part of the rich history, and it gives us a rounded picture of what happened, what life was like at the time. It's really, really interesting.
The great irony is the chance to show it at the time was missed. Here is Tony Benn speaking about that historical flight in a Radio 4 documentary from the early 2000s.
The fourth supersonic test flight, and I sat just behind John and Trubby wearing a parachute. And I was an RAF pilot, and I thought, well, it's nice to know you have a parachute. What you could have done, I never knew, but I did have a parachute. And I took a video camera up, and when I brought it back, the BBC wouldn't show it. I said, why? Oh, quality's not good enough. If I'd landed on the moon at that time, the BBC wouldn't have shown pictures.
Concorde was known for its supersonic speeds, of course, and as far as this footage goes, though, it's a case of better late than never. Richard Lawson, BBC, points west.
We've shown it now. What a treasure. Now let's have a whiz through what's making the news on the BBC website and app this evening. Police have discovered what they're calling a substantial cannabis farm at a home in Swindon. 150 plants found there. The electricity company raised the alarm. The house on Kingshill Road has now been cordoned off. Sewers have been cleaned in the Kingsholm area of Gloucester. Residents have complained for some time about a nasty stink that's been seeping into their houses. Severn Trent Water have now carried out a cleanse. And there's a week to go till the Bristol Harbour Festival. This article tells you all you need to know about the line-up, tickets, travel and the measures put in place in case there's warm weather. You can find all those stories and more on the BBC News website and app. Now to sport, and Bristol Bears duo George Kloska and Bernhard Janse van Rensburg are set to win their first England caps tomorrow. George is Bristol born and bred and has represented England's A-side this year. Bernhard is South African born and has been named in the Prem's Dream Team for the last 3 years. And there's the small matter of tomorrow's football. England taking on Norway tomorrow night. With a summer of festivals and fetes and weddings well underway, Ross Pollard has been to meet the football fans who will be going to great lengths to make sure they can watch the game wherever they are and whatever they're doing. Just to say, Ross's piece does contain a small amount of nudity.
Where in the West are you watching Saturday's match? England's last few games have created some very special memories.
But what if the football falls on your special day, your wedding day? Well, the couple I'm about to meet, who are getting married right now in this registry office in Shepton Mallet, they're embracing the football tomorrow at their wedding party by having it on a big screen.
I thought it was an absolute disaster.
Couldn't agree. When we knew that they got through, it was like, oh, that's a problem that we're going to have to navigate our way around. We decided that we would embrace it and bring the football to the day to try and make it a complete party.
And I hope they win, so that it will be a great vibe if they do. But if they don't, it's going to really annoy me.
They're having their wedding reception on their family farm in Godney.
Our concern is that it's right at the time that the band kicks off. So we've spoken to the band and they're going to navigate around it as well. So they can change the set so that they do the first set and then we'll put the football on while they have a break for the first half and then they'll do the second set after half time.
Music venues are also getting in on the act and showing the game.
It's something I will always make sure we always do because I'm a big football fan myself. And the last match was incredible. 4 o'clock in the morning, it was quite tiring, but yeah, I was pacing up and down the venue for the last 20 minutes. It was tense, but it was great.
There are several festivals on this weekend in the West Country. Tetfest in Tetbury have made changes to allow the match to be shown on a big screen.
It was mentioned to me a few months ago by one of the bands, do you know that the quarterfinals are on Saturday the 11th of July? And I went, no, I didn't. So I had to then plan and go, right, so I rung around all the bands, said, right, this is how we're doing. Can you move an hour earlier? So we can then have kick-off on the LED screen and with our sound system, and I want everybody to throw their pints in the air so they have to go and buy more pints.
And these guys at Nude Fest in Somerset, where there's also a screening, are hoping England don't become the butt of everyone's jokes. So best of luck to the lads tomorrow night. Torrington Avenue in Knoll West will certainly be cheering you on. Let's hope Jordan Pickford isn't as wooden as this scarecrow in Eastling in Somerset. Ross Pollard, BBC Points West.
Well, now, England first played Norway way back in 1937. I think that one ended 6-0 to England. There have been various friendly clashes over the ensuing decades, but I think it is safe to say Norway have never been the dangerous force they are right now. Let's get some Norwegian perspective on this, shall we? Markus Fjortoft is a former professional player from Norway. He also grew up in Wiltshire, where his dad played for Swindon Town. Markus, big welcome to you. This is a huge game for both sides. How do you see it playing out?
It's a massive game for us. You could argue this is the greatest battle between Norway and England since the Battle of Stamford Bridge in 1066. This is how big this is for us here in Norway, and for us to be in a World Cup quarterfinal as a country that we look to from a sporting standpoint, from a cultural standpoint, is as big as it gets for us Norwegians.
Well, we've seen Norwegian fans doing that Viking row all over social media. It looks like there's a lot of confidence there. Do fans think Norway can do it? Could it be another one of those your boys took a hell of a beating moments?
Well, that's what we're going for, isn't it? But yeah, I'd say before the tournament, there was a huge amount of enthusiasm. But I think we can differentiate between enthusiasm and expectations. I think what that enthusiasm now has translated to is a certain expectation. And I think after we beat Brazil, it's the first time even for me, and football's made me pessimistic, realistic, call it what you may. I had just a small inkling that, you know what, we could maybe go on to win this. And I think that's what's kicking in with Norwegians now. We know that England are favourites. We know the pressure is on England. But we've shown against Brazil, against Ivory Coast, against Senegal, that we can play against the very best and play our very best football. And so far, momentum and confidence, is certainly on our side.
We're looking at pictures of Erling Haaland now. That is a daunting prospect in and of itself to have to face. What can England do to prepare themselves for him?
Well, I've seen a lot of talk about limiting the service to Erling Haaland. And I say good luck doing that for 90 minutes. If it's one thing that Erling Haaland has proven this tournament is that he doesn't need many opportunities. He's been clinical in front of goal. And what we can guarantee is that Erling Haaland will get his chances against England as well, because England haven't been awfully convincing defensively, nor had Norway been either. So I think we'll definitely see goals, but Erling Haaland will get his shot. And with the form he's in, I have a good feeling that, he might be adding to his 7 goals this World Cup.
He's always in form, I think. Let's talk about you. You lived in Swindon while your dad played for the club. Tell us about your continued connection to Swindon.
Yeah, I mean, born in Swindon, and so Dad obviously had a special time in Swindon. And when I moved down to London following my football career, I heard from Andrew Hawes at BBC Radio Wiltshire wondering if I wanted to do some co-coms for them for the Swindon games. And it's been fantastic for me to reconnect with the place of my birth, always going down to County Ground, through the magic roundabout, that I somehow survive every time. And yeah, it's just a lovely time. I feel like I'm reconnected kind of with my past. I see the same people that that were there when Dad was there. So it's a lovely trip down memory lane, and I'm so warmly received as well. And that's what I so appreciate with the people in and around the club. How warmly they have taken me into the Swindon community.
Oh, we all love having you. Thank you so much for joining us. Score prediction quickly for tomorrow?
My heart says 2-1 Norway. My head says 2-1 England. And let's hope my heart trumps my head.
I hope you won't be too disappointed when that turns out not to be the case. Marcus, thank you so much for chatting tonight.
Thank you very much.
Zara, are you watching tomorrow? Where are you watching?
Of course. We're lucky that we've got a big screen at my house and we're all set up. We've got the snacks all planned.
Nice.
It's going to be a big, big thing, isn't it?
Very good.
I didn't know which one he was rooting for, actually. I was kind of a bit like,
Head and heart.
Yeah, I know, it's hard for him, isn't it, really? It's like me, because I grew up in the States, so when I was watching America play, I was like, yeah, come on, USA, but really, Britain. Okay, you know what? Gosh, we need to talk about this heat wave again. It is no laughing matter, and it's so difficult to enjoy some of the beautiful events we've got across the West at the moment as well, particularly when you look at the top temperature we had today across the region. We finally got today to 35 Celsius, because if you remember earlier in the week I was saying to you that the really, really intense heat to the southeast was shifting our way on an easterly wind, and today was going to be the peak of it for us. So yeah, we've been in the 30s right across the board. We were coming on air at lunchtime and we've been at 28 in Bristol, and within a couple of minutes it had gone up to 30 Celsius, and that's been the way of it, just because the hot air is with us. And in fact, we're hotter than some parts of Europe today. So that's really the story there. Overnight tonight, we've got the clear skies, and I think it will be the warmest night we've seen so far. Not quite a tropical night, but not far off it in some spots, I've got to tell you. So a little uncomfortable for sleeping. And then tomorrow, of course, we're going to do it all again. Dry, lots and lots of sunshine. Hot sunshine, high UV, high pollen, and making these points, you'll see why in just a second. 32 or 33 Celsius, maybe up to 34 again in some spots, but typically low 30s is what we're looking at. The reason why I made that comment about the strong UV is just to remind all the people out there with all the different events going on, including, of course, we already talked about it today, Pride tomorrow is going to be very hot. So temperatures, I think, in Bristol just sneaking up to around 31 degrees in the middle part of the day, around 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And then we're going to do it all again as we go through the next few days. If anything, we're picking up a bit more of a northeasterly wind, and again, that just keeps the intense heat towards us. But there will be a few showers potentially creeping up as we go overnight Monday into Tuesday. Could be a little bit thundery. That's not going to be enough, though, to break this heat down. So it's right the way through next week, still in the low 30s Celsius quite typically, still warm at night too. You can see just towards the end of next week into the following weekend, maybe coming down a smidge.
Still a ways to go.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. That's it from us. We've got the World Cup coming up next with Spain-Belgium kick-off at 8. That's going to push our late news update into a slightly later slot, probably half an hour or so. Do stay with me, and I will see you a little bit later. Thanks for watching.